Welcome to this channel. A channel where we x-ray and throw light on Africa. Her serious tribes, their culture, their origin, their strength, their weaknesses, their belief, and their gods. Today we shall be looking at Egypt and all there is to know, but before then, kindly like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button for these and other Africa stories. Now let's go to the business of today. Before the modern world was born. Before steel ruled the streets. Before mankind ruled the skies. There was only the hot desert and one long river that moved like a giant snake through the sand. The people called it the Nile. And wherever the Nile passed, life followed. That river gave birth to a great land. A land whose name would travel far and wide. Egypt. In the early days, the people lived in small villages beside the river. They farmed. They fished. They prayed. But the villages were many. And the rulers were many too. Until one day, a strong king came from the south. His name was Menes. He walked into the north not with begging, but with power. And like a man tying two stubborn goats with one rope, he joined the north and the south into one land. And that was the day Egypt became one nation. The people beat drums. The elders poured libation. The children danced. Egypt was born. The Egyptian people believed the world was full of spirits. They believed the sun was not just fire in the sky. The sun was Ra, the great god, who sailed across heaven in a golden boat. At night, Ra entered the underworld to fight darkness. And every morning, he returned with light. They believed death was not the end. Oh no. Death was only a journey. When a man died, his soul traveled to the court of Osiris, the king of the dead. There, his heart was weighed. If it was heavy with evil, darkness took him. If it was light with truth, he lived forever. That is why bodies were wrapped. Not out of fear, but out of hope. They preserved the body, so the soul could return home again. One day, the Pharaoh looked at the desert and said, "I am not ordinary. When I die, I must live forever." And so, the people built stones bigger than elephants, heavy like guilt, tall like pride. Block by block, dust by dust, they raised mountains made by human hands. The pyramids. Till today, no man fully knows how they were built. Some say wisdom. Some say magic. But one thing is sure. Egypt touched heaven with stone. Pharaohs ruled Egypt. Not as ordinary men, but as living gods. One queen wore a beard on her face to show power. Her name was Hatshepsut. One king tried to change all gods into one. His name was Akhenaten. One strong lion built more temples than any man. His name was Ramses the Great. One small boy became king too early. His name was Tutankhamun. He ruled small, but he died rich. Very rich. Gold beyond counting followed him to the grave. Then came a woman of fire and pride. Her name was Cleopatra. She loved powerful men from Rome, but loved Egypt more. When Rome crushed her throne, she chose death over shame. And with her breath, the age of pharaohs ended. But long before Cleopatra, before Roman boots touched Egyptian sand, before foreign flags waved in the wind, another story was already burning. Inside Egypt's walls, a people had come to live in Egypt. Quiet at first, humble, hardworking. They were called the Israelites. The Egyptians welcomed them in the beginning, but fear soon entered Pharaoh's heart. The Israelites multiplied like stars, and jealousy turned into chains. Soon, the guests became slaves. Bricks by day, whips by night. Tears fell into the Nile. And the river heard. One night, a Hebrew mother held her baby boy. The king had ordered. Every Hebrew son must die. But a mother's love is stronger than a king's fear. So she placed her child in a basket of reeds and set him gently on the Nile, like a prayer floating on water. The river carried him, not to death, but to destiny. The daughter of Pharaoh found him and raised him as a prince. She named him Moses. He grew up in the palace, but his blood still remembered chains. Years later, Moses ran into the desert. There, a bush burned, but did not turn to ash. From the fire came a voice. Go back to Egypt. Tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Moses returned. Not with sword, but with God. Pharaoh laughed. So heaven spoke louder. Water turned to blood. Frogs filled palaces. Darkness swallowed the sun. Still Pharaoh refused. Then came one last cry. And Egypt trembled. Finally, Pharaoh broke. Go, he shouted. And the Israelites ran. Pharaoh changed his mind. Chariots chased the running slaves. Mountains on one side. Soldiers behind. Water ahead. Then Moses lifted his stick. And the Red Sea opened. Walls of water stood like giants. The people walked through on dry ground. When Pharaoh followed, the sea returned and swallowed the chariots whole. That day, Egypt learned. Not all power lives in palaces. Some live in heaven. After the pharaohs fell, strangers came. Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Turks. Every one of them wanted Egypt. Not for love, but for power. Slowly, the old ways faded. The gods slept. The drums went quiet. But Egypt never died. Today, the children speak Arabic. The mosques call prayers. Cars pass where camels once walked. But the pyramids still stand, like old men who refuse to die. And the Nile still flows, like a mother who never forgets her children. Egypt is no longer ruled by gods. But Egypt will forever remain. A land made by water. A kingdom built by stone. A people raised by belief. And that, my child, is how Egypt became eternal.